Yield to a member on the Democratic side that served in a combat area designated zone and deployment of our country. Anybody in the Democratic side?
Mr. Stubbe, what's the purpose of the question? My father, no, let me finish. Let me finish.
Because I'm going to make a point and you're taking my time. So I will yield to any member who
because I'm offended at your suggestion that somehow if we've not served in a combat zone, that we don't care about protecting the lives of our constituents.
Has nothing to do about how you
to me.
And for our family members who have lost blood, they should be respected.
Reclaiming my time. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like 40 seconds.
I've seen my constituents die in battle.
It's Mr. Stubbe's time. Gentleman is recognized.
And I will ask for 40 additional seconds that I was taken. Okay, so I served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I served in the Army, and there's a lot of talk in Washington about weapons of war. And my purpose of yielding to one of my colleagues who may have served was to ask them a specific question of what type of firearm were you issued when you were deployed? And the answer to that question is a true what would be defined as a weapon actually used in war, has a selector switch on it for fully automatic, 3-round burst, and semi-automatic. So
if you want to see what absolute jaw-dropping panic looks like, just watch Jerry Nadler and AOC sit there completely stunned while a real combat veteran dismantles their entire legislative agenda in under 60 seconds. Watching these career politicians try to lecture an Iraq war veteran on what constitutes a weapon of war is like watching a toddler try to teach a NASA engineer how to build a rocket. They want to talk about aesthetics, but they cannot handle the physics.
Deployed in 2006 in Operation Iraqi Freedom, we were issued M4s in the United States Army. Those M4s had a selector switch on them. Those selector switch allow you to have fully automatic, 3-round burst, or semi-automatic. Those firearms are not allowed for purchase in the United States today. So this cascading of weapons of war, what I was issued, and again, I would ask any person that served in a deployed environment, you are issued weapons that allow for fully automatic and 3-round burst. That is not available for purchase in the United States, and that is not what the Democrats are attempting to ban today because that's already banned. What we're talking about is a semi-automatic rifle that only is used in a semi-automatic form. So behind me is a typical AR platform weapon, and you can't see it because it's on this side, not the other side, that has a selector switch on it. That selector switch is only for fire or not fire, safe or not safe, and that is for a semi-matic operation of the weapon, which means every time I depress the trigger, a round comes out of the firearm. All right, next slide, and just move it over. This is the most popular handgun in the United States that was purchased is the Glock 19. It functions in exactly the same way as this rifle. It's a semi-automatic, just like that's a semi-automatic. The rifles not available for purchase don't have a selector switch for 3-round bursts or fully auto. This is a semi-automatic handgun. As quick as I depress the trigger of this Glock 19, a round comes out of the chamber. The functionality between that weapon and this weapon are exactly identical. There is no difference. So you're banning a class of weapons that you don't like the look of, not because of functionality, not because of how fast a round comes out of the weapon, just because you don't like the way that they look, because they function exactly the same. Now move this one over one. So now this is a Glock 19. Glock 19 comes with a 15-round magazine, which under this bill is legal, although it's interesting that a couple weeks ago, you banned 10-round magazines, and then you changed it to a 15-round magazine. It's interesting to understand the thought process there, but that is for another time. This is a 6-hour P320, which some of you probably saw in one of the hearings on the magazine bans. I showed my P320. This comes with a 20-round magazine. So under this bill, because it has a 15-round magazine ban, this gun would be banned because you wouldn't be able to use it. Again, it functions exactly the same as that gun. It functions exactly the same. As fast as you depress the trigger, is as fast as a round comes out. So now the next one. So that gun would be banned. That would be okay because you can put a 15-round magazine in it. This is a lever action. Under this bill, lever actions apparently are okay, but semi-automatic AR platform rifles are not okay. So we're going to discriminate against the type of firearms that we're going to use, despite the fact that the functionality is the same. The only difference here is after you depress the trigger and a round comes out, you have to reload using the lever action, which saves you maybe half of a second. The next one, which is also legal, is a tubular This is a tubular 22, which, again, and Mr. Massey did a good job of highlighting how ridiculous the calibers of the bullets are. The Democratic majority is discriminating against some of the most popular weapons in the United States simply because they don't like the way they look, not because of the way they function. And there are so many Americans that are confused when they see the semi-automatic rifle that the Democrats want to ban as being fully automatic. It's not. You can't purchase that. It's illegal. It is not a weapon of war. A weapon of war has a fully automatic switch or a 3-round burst. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentlelady from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I move to strike the last word.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let us look at what is actually happening beneath all the political noise here. For years, the push to pass these restrictive firearm laws has relied on a very specific strategy, changing what words mean. You hear the phrase weapons of war thrown around constantly in the news, right? It is designed to make you picture a battlefield, full-scale combat operations, and fully automatic machine guns. The goal here is to blur the line in the public's mind between military-grade hardware and standard semi-automatic rifles owned by millions of regular, law-abiding Americans. And this matters to all of us because when you start letting the government write laws based on how an object looks instead of how it actually works, well, the rules become completely arbitrary. If a politician can ban something simply because its shape looks intimidating, there is no real limit to what else they can restrict down the road. It's not just a debate about mechanical parts, it's about whether our laws are going to be based on facts or just shifting emotional trends. The whole exchange started with a pretty telling moment. Representative Stubbe, who served in the Army during Operation Iraqi Freedom, tried to give some of his speaking time to any Democrat on the committee who had also served in a combat deployment zone. He just wanted to ask a basic question to establish some common ground. But instead of anyone stepping up, the response he got was pure offense. One member cut in to say they were deeply offended by the question, claiming it implied that if you haven't served, you don't care about your constituents' safety. Wow, notice how fast that pivot happened? Stubbe asked a question about mechanical familiarity, and the response was an immediate emotional defense. It's a classic move. When you can't argue the actual physics of a firearm, you attack the intentions of the person asking the question. Once Stubbe got his time back, he laid out the real-world facts. He explained that when he deployed in 2006, the Army issued him an M4 rifle. That rifle had a selector switch on it for fully automatic and 3-round burst. That's a real weapon of war. And here's the kicker that the anti-gun lobby always seems to skip over. Those fully automatic weapons have been strictly restricted and effectively banned from civilian purchase in the U.S. since 1986. Then Stubbe pointed over to a picture of a standard civilian AR platform rifle behind him. He showed the selector switch on it. It does not have an automatic setting. It only has safe and fire. It is a semi-automatic tool. One pull of the trigger fires exactly 1 round. To really show how ridiculous the logic of the bill is, he compared that rifle to a standard Glock 19 handgun. Mechanically, inside the chamber, they do exactly the same thing. You pull the trigger, 1 round comes out. By pointing this out, Stubbe completely exposed what this bill actually is, a cosmetic ban. The committee is trying to outlaw a whole class of rifles, not because of how they function or how fast they fire, but simply because they do not like the styling. He proved how arbitrary this is by holding up a Sig Sauer P320 handgun, which comes standard with a 20-round magazine. Under this law, that incredibly popular self-defense handgun would be totally banned, while a 15-round Glock would be perfectly fine. Same functionality, but one makes you a federal criminal based on a number pulled out of thin air by a committee. Seriously. Let us stick to the actual Constitution and leave the interior design choices out of federal law. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time on Congress Showdown. Stay free.